All right, it is time for the January Q&A of 2021. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have it better tomorrow. So, the Q&A for January 2021 is finally here. I know, sorry we're a little late on that one. Been a bit busy, as I'm sure everybody can tell, so I do apologize for that, but better late than ever, am I right? So, you asked the questions. It is my turn to answer them. So, if you have any questions for the Q&A, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below. And if there's any I've forgotten, please let me know, and I will get them in the next Q&A. Without further ado, let's start with the YouTube comments. So, Crash Bash asked, if you could recast Ruby, who would voice who? So, I'd probably recast some characters. I probably wouldn't recast everybody, because not everybody's bad. I mean, there are some like really, really bad ones, but like not everybody the voice actors characters are bad. Sometimes I also think that has to do with the directing of the voice actors, because I put a lot of blame on that, because like in Ruby Chibi, some people like Jessica Nagiri did really good in Chibi, as opposed to like sometimes where in actual like Ruby, there are issues there. So like if I had to say, with some characters I'd recast, like Pyrrha, for example, I would recast Julianne Taylor as Pyrrha. I think that'd be like a really good Pyrrha, in my personal opinion. Because you want to talk about somebody that's very talented, yeah, she's extremely talented, in my opinion. I think she'd be a good replacement. I'd still probably keep Jessica Nagiri as Cinder, just like I said, have better people to direct for voice acting, because like many people, it's not even just Jessica Nagiri, because she did really good as the dub of Super Sonico. So, because she was Sonico, she did good. She also did good in Ruby Chibi. Like, she was good as Cinder in Ruby Chibi as well. It's just, like I said, I think it's the voice directing that's the problem. Todd Happercorn as Jean. I think that'd be a good Jean, actually. I think that he would actually do a good job. I think he'd work, actually. I don't know why. That just suits so well, in my opinion, for Jean. It really does. I also would say, like, Ironwood, I would replace him with Travis Willingham. I think he would probably be a good VA for Ironwood. I think he'd work. I feel like Ozpin would be Keith Silverstein. I feel like he would be a very good Ozpin. I mean, that would be a very good, like, Ozpin choice, I think. And then, I know who would be a good Ruby. I think that Mine Noji would be a good Ruby. Now, a lot of people probably wouldn't know who she was, but surprisingly, she was actually on General Hospital, but she actually did voice as Cynthia from Fire Emblem and Fire Emblem Awakening, and I think she would be good. I mean, she's had some other voice acting roles. She was also in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the 2014 version, so like she's had some voice acting roles also. But I feel like she would actually be able to do like a younger and like really well done Ruby Rose. It's better than her having a chipmunk voice. Just saying. I also think that for Yang, Michelle Ruff would do a good job as Yang. I think she could really make a great Yang, actually. I feel like Michelle Ruff would do good. I think Kara Eberly would be fine still being Weiss. I don't think that she's an issue, really. So I think Kara Eberly could stay the same. Same with Jessica Nagiri. I think she could stay the same as Cinder. I also think that if there was a replacement for Blake, now this one's going to be a shocker, but I would have to say Stephanie Sheh would probably be very good as Blake. I think, because, like, here's what's crazy. People will know her mostly for the dub of Hinata, Hyuga, and Orihime Inoue, but she actually can do, like, kind of deeper tones. She's got good range with her voice, actually, because she played as Tharja in Fire Emblem Awakening, as well as in Warriors and Heroes. And I was like, man, that's crazy, the range that she has. Like, some voice actors are so talented you wouldn't know it was them. And she's definitely one of them. So, yeah, she would be a very good Blake, I think. I think that Gideon Emery could actually be a good Rin. And Kate Higgins could be a good Nora. I don't think she'd sound so annoying, and she could actually pull it off. I think she'd like be a really good Nora. Man, it's crazy. Like some of the voice actors I can think of that would, in my opinion, be good. for the list, but that's at least some of them. And you know, let Neo be played by Laura Bailey if she was going to get a voice. If she was going to get a voice. But yeah, good question, man. Good question. Javar Griffin, I hope I said your name right, asked, "Oh shit, I never thought my question would be in your video. I feel special, and I can't wait for the next Q&A and next question." But yeah, no problem, man. I try to get everybody in all the Q&As. You know, if I miss them, then I get them in the next one. So, you know, I do apologize if I miss any, but of course I always try to get them. So, who's your favorite waifu in Ruby? Well, that's very obvious. It's definitely the ice cream queen herself, Neo, because Neo is best girl. She is best girl. I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. But, you know, that's just me. Hello Pilot 22 asks, if you were to have an NBA pickup game that's 4v4 and you can pick anyone and anything, they don't have to be a real person or real thing, i.e. they don't have to be actual basketball players or people to be on your team, who would your 4 be? One of them would definitely be Thanos. I mean, if he had the gauntlet, if he had all the stones, I mean, there's no way I'd lose. He'd be one of them. Giorno Giovanna, because Gold Experience Requiem. My opponent's never going to win. They're never going to win. I mean, that's basically all I'd have to say. Be like, I just need him. I would definitely pick him. I would probably also pick Sephiroth because he's going to be brutal and everybody knows it. Who's going to stand against Sephiroth? I'm just asking. I mean, of course, unless you're Cloud, but aside from Cloud, who's going to stand against Sephiroth? Just saying. And then I would also probably pick Android 21 because Majin powers, and you know, she's going to turn people into candy probably. Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to want to fight that team. I really don't. But yeah, good question, man. Brandy Miller asks, are there any anime males you're willing to go out with? That's a good question. If I were to choose one, I mean, there is one that is very obvious, I think, for many people that they would choose. For me, if I had to choose one, I would choose, you know, Best Girl Astolfo, because who wouldn't choose Best Girl Astolfo? I'm just saying, you know, Astolfo would be the one. Good question. Tamara Sasha asks, list best to worst of anime parents. Okay, now this one is an interesting one. So first would be Akio and Sane Furukawa from Clannad, because, like, this one's a toss-up. It's hard for me to say because, like, I would put them as number one because they loved their daughter, Nagisa, so much that due to her poor health, they actually quit their dream job for their own child. Like, I'm not even kidding, to be there for her. And then they took in her boyfriend Tomoya because of his father and the hardships he was going through with that. I mean, they parented him. It was great. I mean, Clannad's amazing. And then, of course, Mayhews. I mean, Mayhews is like the dad that everybody would dream to have. I mean, he's, you know, a wonderful guy. You know, obviously very protective of his daughter, but also loved her to death. And, you know, he was even kind of like a father to Edward and Alphonse. So, I mean, like, you know, got to give it to Mayhews. I mean, his death is like one of the most tragic things ever. I mean, that hits the heart. Hughes' death is like one of the worst things ever. It's so depressing. But then there's you know, the lovable mother from Toradora, Yasuko Takasu. Man, like, I love her character to death. Like, you want to talk about a really good mom? I mean, she comes off in the beginning as irresponsible and lazy, but it really turns out that, you know, she's actually working at like an overnight shift as a hostess to try to help her son Ryuji actually be able to have a life that, you know, would make him happy. And she even works to try to make sure that he has a roof over his head and funding. I mean, like, you know, for college. She's a great mother. Then Hero Academia, I cannot forget Inko Midoriya, because her character is so good. Like, I mean, yeah, she's very overprotective of her son, but that's because she loves him dearly. And she's been such a big supporter of Midoriya. Like, Deku, you know, gets so much love from his mom. Like, I mean, I love his mother. I mean, I really do. Like, she is a good character. And then another good mom, I think, was Kyoko Honda from Fruits Basket. I mean, the only thing is that she's kind of, you know, already deceased after the series starts. But, like, the thing is, she loved her daughter, and she wanted her daughter to be herself. And she was even, like, a surrogate mother to two of her friends. I mean, like, The woman was a good character. I mean, you got to give her credit on that. Now from the best parents to the worst parents. Now this one is going to start with Tsuruchi Makize from Steins Gate being the best girl's father, which go from best girl to worst father because like this guy is one of the worst dads ever. He was going to even kill his own daughter, Karisu, because she writes a groundbreaking paper on time travel. And so he wanted to take credit for it. Yeah, I'm not kidding. This guy's a scumbag. And you don't go and try to kill best girl. I mean, seriously, Kurisu is the best girl of Steins Gate, just saying. But Hiromi Shiota is another one from Assassination Classroom. She is a horrible mom because whenever she had her son, she wanted to actually have a daughter so she could basically just relive her own girlhood. And so she tried to conform her child to a gender identity that he didn't even agree with. And then because she didn't give birth to a daughter and instead a son, she decided to raise her son as if he was a girl. So then she forced her son Nagisa to grow out his hair and wear feminine clothing. And if you thought that was already bad, well, it gets worse because he was in the worst class where, all the kids with bad grades end up. And while he liked that class with his friends, well, she tried to get him out of there, so he disagrees. So she drugs her own son and then takes him to school to insist that he burns down the building. Like, I'm serious. This is how crazy this woman is. You want to talk about a terrible mother? Yeah, this is definitely a terrible mom. But oh, it gets worse. Because if you've ever seen Elfen Light, if you know who Mayu is, well, yeah, her parents, well, it's more like her mother and her stepfather, well, they're terrible. Because her stepfather starts to do inappropriate things to her, which makes her run away. And before she runs away, though, her mother tells her that she was unwanted and not loved, which of course led her to run away, which it's so sad seeing that Mayu was like the most innocent character in that entire series get treated like trash by her own family. I mean, it was horrible. Absolutely awful and disgusting. We definitely can't forget Gendo Ikari from Neon Genesis Evangelion. I mean, okay, the man wanted to bring his wife back from the dead. Okay, I understand that. But still, what he did with Shinji was wrong. I mean, he abandons his own kid, and then finally, whenever Shinji's 14 years old, he's just like, oh, yeah, come over here, get the damn robot. I mean, seriously. Like, and he doesn't even tell him what it's for. He's just very vague on everything. Like, this guy is terrible. Like, he's horrible. And then we cannot forget a big one here, because if you've ever seen Berserk, then you will definitely know Gambino. Gambino is definitely one of the worst. I mean, if you know about Guts and his backstory, well, this was his adoptive father. And what he did was he basically sold his son out for some very terrible things. I can't really say on YouTube, but very terrible stuff that was done to him. Like, he supported his own son being abused. It was disgusting. Let's put it like that. Horrible father. Very terrible. And then number one's going to be Shao Tucker. I mean, okay, seriously. Shao Tucker took his own wife and made a chimera out of her. And then, well, what did he do? Well, he took his own daughter and did that to her as well. I mean, Nina, just an innocent victim. I mean, like, an innocent victim of a man who was trying to keep his own career. He went so far as to do that to his own family, just basically ruin their lives. I mean, it's disgusting. I mean, what Scar did, yeah, definitely deserved to have his brain melted by Scar. I give props to Scar on that one. But yeah, good question. Elizabeth McAden asked, most wanted character in Smash? Oh, man. I don't know. I really don't know. Because, like, there's so many good ones. There's one that I would have preferred to never be an assist trophy, but rather be a playable character. Is Lindis. Lyn from Fire Emblem. I would have loved for her to actually be a playable character. That would have been cool. I mean, yeah, people would have complained, oh, another Fire Emblem character. Oh, another sword fighter. Yeah, but, I think she would have been a cool addition just as a regular player instead of an assist trophy. But then again, look at Waluigi fans. I mean, they get the raw end of the deal on that one. So I do feel bad for them. Virgil versus Hiei. Who would win? Ooh, Virgil and Hiei. That's a good one. I mean, Virgil, he's insanely powerful. I mean, Hiei's strong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say Hiei's not strong, but I gotta go Virgil. Like, Virgil's nuts. Like, yeah, I'd have to side with Virgil on that one. Favorite Mario boss that isn't Bowser? I actually did like the Shadow Queen from Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. It's like one of the hardest boss battles ever. I mean, I really liked her. I liked Cortez too, though. Cortez was a lot of fun. Like, and then he obviously becomes a good guy after you beat him. But like Cortez, the pirate that was made of bones, he was awesome. I liked him. But yeah, that's just me. I also liked Fawful. He was another villain that was great in the Mario and Luigi series. Like, he was so good. And I liked in Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga that he called Mario and Luigi Fink Rats. That was hilarious. I mean, I can't forget that. That was too good. But yeah, Fawful's another good one. Star Wars or Star Trek? Oh, I mean, that's tough. Like, I don't know. I like both. I mean, I don't know. That's really hard for me to say because, like, I love both Star Wars and Star Trek. I mean, they were both impactful on my life too. Like, I don't know. I might have to go with Star Trek. I mean, I love Star Wars to death, but like, I love Star Trek too. I don't know. I'd probably have to say Star Trek though. Star Trek might be it. I don't know. It's so tough. Probably Star Trek though. Probably Star Trek. God, I love them both so much though. Yeah, probably Star Trek. Which series lore is deeper, Kirby or Five Nights at Freddy's? Ugh. Well, Game Theory seems to let Five Nights at Freddy's live, so probably Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, probably Five Nights at Freddy's. That wouldn't be surprising to me in the slightest. If Peach met Ironwood currently, what would she think of him? Oh, I mean, she'd slap him back to reality so that he himself would realize that he's been assassinated as a character, even though he's like a husk of who he was, and then he would then be like, oh man, what have I been doing? What happened to me? Realize that the writers treated him dirty. Yeah, I mean, she would just think terrible things of him from what he's become, as opposed to what he was. But yeah, good questions. So that's all for the YouTube questions. Time for the Discord questions. Let's get to them. Captain Boomerang asks, happy 2021, my lord. Well, happy 2021 to you as well. Thank you very much. Question for January 2021 Q&A. What are some goals for 2021? To definitely have a better year than last year was. Last year was the year from hell, and I'm not the only one that can say that. Many other people can as well, because last year was definitely a very shitty year for many, many people. So, yeah, to definitely have a better year, that's a given. I think everybody wants that. Also, to just do my best. Always try to improve. Always try to learn everything I can. Continue to deliver the best content that I can to everybody. Obviously improve at that as well. And, just to be the best I can for everyone as well as myself, I mean, that's really, I guess, the goals that I have for this year, to just do what I can, do it for everybody, including myself. So, I mean, that's really, I guess, all the goals I have for this year. I mean, but then again, I'm the kind of guy who just sets a goal whenever. I don't have to have the beginning of the year for me to set a goal. I just kind of set it whenever and then hope to achieve it. But, that's just me. But for those of you who have goals set for this year, I hope it goes wonderfully for all of you, and I hope you all achieve them. But, yeah, thanks for the question, man. It was definitely a good one. So, Sexy Neo asked, 10 reasons to play Fire Emblem and rate the waifus from best to least favorite. So, 10 reasons. Now, I'm going to say this. Fire Emblem, while I do enjoy it, it is not above its criticisms because, obviously there are some games in the series that are definitely better than others. Some of them are just not that good. And then some of them are really great. Like, it just depends. But if you're a fan of RPGs, that's already reason number one because it is a good RPG franchise. Secondly, if you want to play a game that you're going to put tons of hours into because it does take a lot of grinding. But, if you have a lot of time that you feel you want to just kind of waste, it's a good way to do it. If you want a game that's turn-based strategy, yeah, this is your game because it does turn-based strategy RPG pretty well. So, there's also that. If you're into lore, there's a lot of lore in Fire Emblem. And, a lot of it is based around dragon gods. But, I do like that, the different countries that they have, as well as even, alternate timelines. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of lore to Fire Emblem, so if you're a lore person, that's another thing that can probably get you invested. So that's something there. Also, the characters, because the characters are very memorable. You got your good ones, you got your bad ones, but you'll remember a lot of characters. I mean, some of them, yes, they can be forgettable. But sometimes even their designs alone, not even just personality. Like personality will obviously stand out, but sometimes even just the designs can make you remember them. Like you won't forget. Of course, it does have the typical Nintendo issue, which some games have really good mechanics, and then obviously some of them they're removed. But for those that have them, like being able to rewind time, for example, that's a good mechanic that they have in a couple of games. And so like if say a unit dies and you just like rewind back before something like that happens in the turn, of course you would only have like a set amount of times you can do it, but there's also that. There is the casual setting or the classic. Classic is where your units die. Casual is where all your units live even after the battle ends. So even if they go down, they'll still live. So, I mean, if you want to keep your units around and not have them die, then you can go into casual mode as opposed to classic. So, I mean, there's that. So if you want to keep your units around, they don't die, you can do that. You want to challenge yourself, you want to put the classic mode, then you can do that too. I mean, like I said, the game allows you to challenge yourself, which is a good thing. Then again, it kind of does feel more rewarding when you have like survived with all your units whenever you're doing like classic mode and you're able to like get them through. Like I'm somebody who has done some like hardcore sessions on these games to like perfect them, like like perfect run throughs where like you don't lose a single member. Yeah, I've done that, and I've done that on harder difficulties, and it takes up tons of your time because you're constantly thinking. Because like I said, it's strategy, but it feels so very rewarding when your characters don't die. Like, and it will take you multiple attempts until you get like that perfect run through. Cause holy shit, can the game escalate fast? Oh, if I were to tell you how many times I've gone through a game and it's frustrated me because I've made a error and then did it come back to backfire so hard. It's one of those games that really makes you think. It really does. But, if there's one reason that I'm sure many people would bring up is also the husbando and waifu wars because, oh god, is that real? I mean, like, you'll find characters you're going to really enjoy and have an emotional bond to, and, that's just how it is. Some people get, like, really attached to characters, and that's normal. I mean, I had a friend of mine, her and I, we talked about, characters that we enjoyed in Three Houses. And she was talking about how she loves Dimitri. That was like her favorite. And I was like, yeah, I can see why. He actually is a pretty cool character, and also, his hate boner for Edelgard is absolutely hilarious. But I mean, I thought that was great. But in terms of the waifus, who are my favorites and least favorites? So like my favorite of all time is Lucina. I mean, like, she's the one that whenever I play Awakening, I just can't help but enjoy the most. I mean. And you also look at it, she's like basically Fire Emblem's future Trunks, but if Trunks actually did save his future instead of it getting all completely wiped out. Because that happened to Trunks, but at least Lucina was able to save it. I'll admit that. And I gotta say, Fire Emblem Heroes really did good when it came to some of the fan service regarding her character. I will admit that because Easter is coming around the corner. Oh boy. Bunny Lucina. Oh yeah, great appeal. And then I remember whenever they did the whole swimsuit art as well, like that was, I mean, like I said, Lucina definitely a character that I've always loved and enjoyed immensely. Still do to this very day. She's like the number one waifu of that series. And then I really like Byleth. I know Byleth is supposed to be more like the link to the character, like it's supposed to be you as the main character, basically. You're supposed to be Byleth. And, nothing wrong with that. I actually enjoy that. A lot of people had a lot of problems, though, when Byleth came into Smash, and I wasn't really one of those, because I was like, okay, that's cool. I was like, no problem with that. So, I mean, I did enjoy seeing Byleth in Smash, and like I said, Smash community, though, a lot of people were not happy about that, but it's also a way to sell games, so everybody knew that. But yeah, in Byleth's story in Three Houses, it's not bad. It's not bad. Lindis is always a special one in my heart because, like, you know, whenever you first play, because like the first game I ever played was the one for the Game Boy Advance, obviously, because it was the first one that ever came to America. But Lindis is Windus. I mean, she was always my favorite, and her storyline within that game is actually good. I mean, like I said, I really enjoy it. Her and Ellawood's story, like I enjoy Lindis as a character, and she's one that to this very day I think is a very popular Fire Emblem character because a lot of people know who Lindis is. So she's one of those that's very recognizable, very easily known. So also Camilla, now Camilla is one of those characters. I mean, she's a yandere. Everybody knows that one of my favorite anime archetypes is yandere. So everybody knew Camilla was gonna be like a shoo-in for me. Oh, I do like her character a lot. I mean, she has a very big emotional attachment to Corrin, which is her younger sibling, adopted younger sibling. But it all makes sense. I mean, she herself kind of didn't really have much of a functional family, so it was kind of more of the dysfunctional family because of royalty and everything. But Camilla overall, I enjoy her character, and also I saw this statue a while ago, and I was like, I'm keeping my eyes on this, and I'm gonna buy it. Expensive, but in my opinion, absolutely worth it because you know I'm gonna be buying that eventually because I do like to collect figurines. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's a shoe in. Another one is Cordelia, who is basically like the genius, the prodigy, and she's a character that was actually seen to be a genius amongst her peers, and she obviously hated being called that. Like if your character and her, like if you go into some of the support conversations involving Cordelia, she actually takes it as an insult that you call her a genius. Like it's kind of funny that she takes your character calling her a genius an insult, but when in reality, I mean, she's actually a very talented character. You kind of can't help but feel bad for her because she's like that hopeless romantic for one character in the series, and he doesn't feel the same about her that she does him, and it's really sad. Also, there was this beautiful statue I saw of Cordelia recently, and I was like, oh man, I was like, somebody's gonna go pay for that because I know I am. So, I mean, it's like, I think this was the $500 statue. Like, God, expensive, but I mean, I like it. Not gonna deny, I do. I have my hobbies. That is a fact. Another one I enjoy is Tharja. Tharja was one. She likes Robin's character, like the character in Fire Emblem Awakening that you play as. The Avatar character. She is like head over heels for him. Yandere. I mean, she stalks his character. It's so bad, but like, I do like Tharja a lot. She's that one character you have to recruit as well. So like, you don't just get her. And if you're not careful, you could actually kill her character by accident. I mean, I've known of cases where that's happened. But, Tharja, definitely a great character, in my opinion. Always enjoyed her. Now, one that is well known for the series is Anna. And Anna, she has a history of being within almost every single Fire Emblem game. She's just not in two of them, which was Gaiden and Echoes. Those are the only two games that she has not appeared in. Otherwise, she has appeared in every single Fire Emblem game. So the other thing is that she's money based, so she will trick people into making a profit, and she'll give them some pretty bad deals. But Anna the Merchant is what she's known for. But Anna has been a character that I mean, seriously, I mean, she's great for her devious nature, though. I mean, she's very cunning, but she's trouble. But I do like Anna. And another character that I really enjoy is Severa. Severa was one that, like, man, I like her because she's a tsundere. Then again, like I said, I have a problem. I think we all know by now I have a tsundere and yandere problem, like when it comes to characters. And she was in Awakening, and then she made a reappearance in Fates, which was actually pretty cool. I mean, Fates had its problems, but it was good to see her, Inigo, and Owain all return under different personas so that they could hide their identity, that they were from a different world. But yeah, Severa, I do enjoy her. I love that tsundere. Can't help it. And then Dorothea from Three Houses. Like, Dorothea hit it off, like, for me to like her character, like, almost instantly. It's just the charm that her character has, as well as, I mean, like you find out about her backstory, and it's actually quite sad how she was actually an orphan. Her father just kind of, left her and her mother. Her mother dies, and she's just on the streets. I mean, it's really sad. I mean, Dorothea had a sad backstory, and whenever she became famous, basically due to the opera house, I mean, that was something. But Dorothea, definitely one of my favorite characters that came out of Three Houses. In fact, she might be my favorite one besides Byleth. I mean, Dorothea is really cool though. Another one I liked from Awakening was Olivia. Olivia being the dancer and also being Inigo's mother. I mean, great character. I always like dancer classes, and they're very easy to abuse because, dancers allowing characters to move twice. I mean, easy experience too. I mean, Olivia is really helpful in that playthrough. And then Ophelia, which is Owain's daughter. Like, she was one of my favorites in Fates. Now, while I have my issues with Fates, Conquest obviously being the best one in my opinion, I will say Ophelia was definitely one of the better characters, and I really liked her a lot, as well as her being kind of like her father Owain. She was a funny character. Eureka from the Seven Stones is another one of my favorites. Now, Eureka can be a bit ditzy, but, I think that really adds charm to her character. And I gotta say, you know, she holds a special place as well, kind of like Lindis does for me. So, Eureka definitely is a good one. Oboro was also another one that I liked. Oboro was actually probably one of the most useful units in my playthrough in the Fates games. I mean, you could only get her in Birthright and Revelation, but still, she was one of the best characters, I think, in terms of like use. She had some of the best skill stats, and not only that, but you learn of her backstory and how she hates Norians, why she hates them. I mean, I can't really blame her considering that they killed her parents, and she always got this face anytime like there was like anything with Norians, like she couldn't stand it, which it was pretty great actually. And then there's Selkie. Now this one falls under a character I don't really care much for. Selkie was very energetic. I mean, not saying that it's a bad thing. It's just this led her into mischief in the game. And then when you first encounter her, she's getting attacked because of her own mistake. Oh man, that was ugh. Yeah, that one was kind of rough. I'll never forget that. Sorry, Selkie. And then Nina. So in Fates, Nina was a character that was the daughter of Niles, and I didn't like her particularly. Like, I didn't hate her, but she wasn't my favorite. I mean, she had an okay personality. It's just like there were just things that were about her that I just did not care for, just at all. Like Nina was just not a character that was more so my cup of tea. In other words, meaning. Then Baruka basically was just kind of boring. I mean, yeah, she was trained to be an assassin. I get it. Kind of suppressing her emotions, but like, I didn't care much for Baruka personally in Fates either. That was kind of another character. And then my least favorite of all is Mozu. Mozu, here's the thing. I get that she's a villager and that her family were all killed. But I don't care for Mozu at all. Like, I kind of find her annoying, if anything. Like, she's probably, in my opinion, the most annoying waifu in all of Fire Emblem. My personal opinion, of course. But that's just me. But, yeah. Good questions, man. Good questions. Captain Boomerang asks, who is your favorite fictional U.S. president? Oh, this is easy. Okay, so if anybody's ever seen the movie Idiocracy, I think Terry Crews was hilarious as the president of that movie. I couldn't help but laugh at every dumb thing he did. It was so funny. Like, his character in that movie, just absolutely fantastic. That's my favorite fictional president. Oh, sadly, that movie's becoming reality. But yeah, good question, man. Adam Soup asks, with so many negative reputation Ruby has gotten for the past 8 years, would you consider dropping the show once it's done and over? I mean, like, I'm gonna be with Ruby all the way through, even if I suffer the endless nights of suffering. But I mean, I'm still gonna stick with it, despite the fact that it continues to get worse. Oh god. But I mean, I'll continue to watch it. I mean, I loved what it once was. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I mean, it was more enjoyable back in the day than what it is now. Like now it's just a complete catastrophe. Um, but yeah, good question, man. Sexy Neo asks, do you know of any other VTubers besides Hololive Group to try out? I mean, if you aren't already, which I guarantee you are, Project Melody, that's a definite yes. Definitely support her. I also watch Nanners, but like, which Nanners is a ton of fun, by the way. But I mean, I know that there are other VTubers out there, but I've basically just, for the most part, stuck with Hololive. So not really. But I do, really just kind of watch Hololive for the most part. But I mean, I do look around though. I mean, if I do find others that interest me, then yeah, definitely. And I'll let you know. But yeah, good question. Opening Desk asks, do you think that Amenity Arena would have lasted longer if Ruby was still good and Rooster Teeth had not gone woke? Well, it really depends because you look at the debt that Warner Media and AT&T are in. They're going to cut corners as much as they possibly can. Even if something's popular, they've cut it. It's like Drama Fever with how popular it was. One day they just pulled the plug. It was over, without an announcement or anything. It was just canceled, done. And it was popular. I mean, it was doing well. So even so, maybe, but it also goes back to the statements that were made with the company, about how there were no sacred cows. And considering that statement alone, that tells you that even the most popular stuff, that is making the money may not even be safe either. So, I mean, maybe. But if Rooster Teeth had just not become the, soy boy, woke, limp dick beta cut company that they became, then maybe. Maybe. But that didn't seem to happen. So, Good question, man. James95 asks, what do you think of this Fate comic? Is Chichui here? What is it? I meant that, Chichui. The fault lies with me. How about you change the way you call this Pendragon? I see. I get it, because they're both supposed to be the father. Oh, that's... Okay, I get it. Papa, like that. Pa? Oh. No way. Sounds good. Where the hell did you bloody wankers come from? Just do it, Mordred. Oh, that's actually pretty good. I actually do like that. Cat to Boomerang asks, how will the world end? Well, you see, it's quite simple. The world is going to make me go to the brink of insanity, to the point where my dragon army will rise, setting ash and fire to the world. Within I shall set the world anew, and it will be better than it was before. No. But yeah, good question. Sexy Neo asks, what anime shows where all or most of the characters are dead at the end of the series? I know of another, and Kill la Kill. Now, I know that you meant Akame ga Kill. When you think about it, it happens in JoJo. It happens in JoJo sometimes, in fact. It happened at part 3 at the end, and then part 5. They aren't the only ones. I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, you'll see what I mean. Is it'll probably take about 30 plus years to get the rest of JoJo animated. But yeah, good question, man. James95 asks, these are 2 questions. Would you like Yang from Ruby if she was a better character? You see, it would take a lot for me to like Yang. Like, I'm to the point where, like, I don't even see Yang as a waifu character, period. Like, I don't. Like, I'm serious. Like, that's how much I can't stand this character, is that they have made me hate her to the point where I'm just like, I don't like Yang at all. Like, I find no attractiveness from Yang at all. That's how badly they've written her. But if they wrote her well, then yeah, I wouldn't hate her, and, it wouldn't be a problem. But, well, it is what it is now. Can't change that. 2, what do you think of Arthur and Artoria having a child, and would it be like Mordred or someone different? Well, the kid would be, I mean, you could still name the kid Mordred, but, I mean, at that point, she would probably be different because the events would play out differently. So, Mordred would still be Mordred, but not the personality of Mordred that you know. So, it would still be like Mordred, but it would also not be Mordred, if that makes sense. But yeah, good questions, man. Mr. Anime343 asks, if you could have any weapons from any anime, video game, comic, etc., what would it be? I would like to have Sephiroth's blade. That's what I would want. I would want Sephiroth's blade. That would be so badass to own. I mean, then again, like he's one of my all-time favorite characters. Period. In anything. Having his blade would be like one of the coolest things to ever own. I mean, that freaking longsword, man, that thing is so sick. I mean, I love it. It looks great. Yeah, that or Virgil's weapon, from Devil May Cry. That'd be another one. Like those would be like the two I'd probably want the most, honestly. But yeah, good question, man. Adam Soup asks, do you believe that absolutely no studio, whether old or new, would be bothered with RWBY considering its poor reputation and history behind it? Now, if it was like a reboot and a studio was doing it, they would probably deal with it then. Because it'd be a reboot and then they could do it however. But wouldn't be surprised if woke studios have anything to do with it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, because a lot of companies are like, oh yeah, it must be popular, so they jump on board. Some companies aren't even aware of the Rooster Teeth issue. A lot of them are, but like not all of them. So, for those that aren't, yeah, then they'll have something to do with it because they'll think it's like a big title name. So some will. But yeah, good question, man. Opening Desk asks, what anime superpower would you want to have? I'd either be an alchemist or have the ability to stop time. Oh, I would want Gold Experience Requiem, hands down. That's what I'd want. I would want Giorno Giovanna's Gold Experience Requiem. That is exactly what I would want. Like, just, it would all be over and nobody could do anything. I would want Gold Experience Requiem. That would be exactly what I want. But that's just me. Good question, man. Thomas Halo asks, monthly Q&A, hey there. Hey, what's up, man? I hope things are going well for you right now in 2021. I thought of a few questions to ask. 1, who was your very first anime waifu? 2, have you ever watched anyone's rewrites on RWBY? And if so, do you have a favorite? So first, anime waifu was actually Rei from Sailor Moon. She was my favorite from that series, and she still is this very day. And she was the very first one that I actually had. So yeah, Rei from Sailor Moon. And she is still up there for me to this very day. So, she was my first. I don't think anybody ever really forgets their first husbando or wife. I don't think that they ever do. And also, when it comes to rewrites, I've watched a few. When it comes to RWBY, I've watched some rewrites and I've read some. Now, if there's someone that I really do enjoy, which is a good friend, is actually Celtic Phoenix. I do actually like his rewrites. He does a very good job trying to like world build and restructure things. I think that he is actually really, really good. If you want to look at good rewrites, definitely Celtic Phoenix, man. I mean, he's great. Good guy too. I mean, he has a good personality. He's a really cool dude. But yeah, Celtic Phoenix is, man. That's who I would definitely say if it were me. But yeah, good questions, man. Sexy Neo asks, what's your opinion on webtoons? I mean, they're okay. When it comes to how the game was played, though, with how webtoons basically took over everything, I mean, they played the game. They bought everything up. I mean, it's just how it works, of course. But, like, I mean, I don't hate them. I don't have ill will. But, like, when it comes to the fan fiction and everything that they've gotten and whatnot, like, I mean, like I said, they played it how it was supposed to be played. I mean, they just, got everything basically, and, that's what happened basically. I mean, they played the game the way it's meant to be played. I mean, there were some anime adaptations, you could say, that was Crunchyroll made. I didn't care for those, like Tower of God, for example. I did not care for it. I know some people do. It's just not my thing. Not me personally. But, that's just me. But yeah, good question, man. James95 asks, here are more Fate memes, and do you want me to keep finding you Fate memes? Oh, yeah, I mean, if you want, that's perfectly fine. I do enjoy them, so, I mean, if you want to, I do like seeing them fight over the food. That's actually really cool. But, yeah, no, if you want to find more, I mean, that's up to you. I mean, I'm fine with it. Papa, where did I come from? The gotcha pool spat you out. Yeah, because, Artorias says something, then, yeah. Oh, then that's gonna be an awkward conversation. Oh, yeah, that's great. 2021, 2020 fighting. Vaccine, stronger virus. Oh, that's what it basically has already come down to when you think about it. Like not even joking. Like that's the truth. It really feels like that's what it's become. That meme's perfect. The chickens. Archer. I do like that. That's actually pretty good. It just it's like they're just like, yep, like this. That's a funny way to look at it actually. And then Mordred right here with the dress. Yeah, that's the pretty princess right there. That's oh man, talk about the best girl. You know, it's definitely Mordred, 100%. Definitely love Mordred all the way. That's great though. I love it. Just like, oh yeah, just be calm. It's like the hardest thing. It's pretty good. And then the next one. Uh, those are pretty nice. I mean, they're pretty cute actually. I like those. Like Chibi Saber. They look really good. Oh, oh, that would be the struggle for Artoria. Like Artoria not being able to eat. Like if you did that to Artoria, like just hold a bunch of food in front of her. No, that would be the real struggle. I think that's when she would just go berserk for it. I mean, I'll be real with you. I think she'd go berserk for it. The Pendragons with bubble teas. Like I had a friend back in college. There was a friend of mine. Always, every day. I'm not kidding. Every day, bubble tea. Every day he went and bought them. Like he would. I mean, I'll never forget that. That really reminds me of that. Like he would do that every day. I'm not kidding. But yeah, I remember that. Whoa, that cat is so cool, Father. She looks so like Father. It's like Father manifested as a cat. Play with me, Father. Here, Father. Oh, man. Oh, here, Father. Shav, yeah. Oh, what are you doing fighting with a cat? This cat is definitely Father. Poor Mordred. Oh, man. La 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 la. This presence, it can be Father. Hello, Mordred. You are quite energetic in this world as well. Who the fuck are you? Hey, it's me, Arthur. How can you be Father when you don't have any tits? What? That one's a really good one. Oh, that's great. Jay Insanity asks, is social media platforms at the brink of becoming nasty, aka SJWs canceling anyone, etc., like Twitter or Discord? Well, I mean, they've been nasty. I mean, like, thing is that Twitter is a cesspool. I mean, it's been a cesspool. I mean, it's been a mess for years. I mean, like after Tumblr fell, like that's when like Twitter just fell because then they just like jumped on board the Twitter train. Oh man, it was bad. I mean, Facebook isn't any better. I mean, it's terrible too. Like, I mean, just SJWs just took over Twitter basically. That's basically what happened. It's become one big garbage heap. I mean, that's what's happened. But yeah, good question, man. Head to Boomerang asks, who would you consider to be anime's best mom and best dad? Can be biological parent or not. So, as I stated earlier, Akio and Sene Furukawa from Clannad. I think that they are the best anime parents in my opinion. I mean, that's just me, but I mean, if you ever watch Clannad, you'll understand why. I mean, they're a fantastic pair. They really are. But yeah, good question, man. Arklord asks, you ever watch Bakugan Battle Brawlers? If so, what seasons you liked and disliked the most? I liked the most new Vestroya and first part of Mectanium Surge, and disliked most second part of Mectanium Surge. Really kind of disappointing way to end the series and make horrible reboot. What is Bakugan Battle Planet? Any favorite domains, Bakugans, and characters? My favorites were Shun Kazami, who I always compare to Rin in look and personality, and form female cast Alice, Gaia Bidge, and Mira Clay. I didn't really care for it. Like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it either. Like, it was just kind of meh to me. I watched a few seasons of it to give it a shot, and I just didn't care. It felt to me like it was a Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Like fusion ripoff, if that makes sense. And I saw what that reboot looked like. I mean, I didn't watch it, but I saw the designs and I just thought, man, that looks terrible. Like, it does not look good in comparison to what the original even looked like. So like for me, I was like, well, they're trying to do this whole thing of, trying to catch the younger demographic, but like, to me, it's just like it feels like these companies that kind of do that, like kind of try that. To me, they just feel so out of touch. But then again, a lot of them are anyway, so that's no surprise. But yeah, good question, man. Mr. DJ Flyhigh asks, who would win in a fight between Lady Shiva and Pyrrha? I gotta go Lady Shiva. I mean, she was an assassin. I mean, yeah, Pyrrha's got polarity, but, if Shiva fights without her weapons and, there's not metal on her body, then Pyrrha's not gonna win. I mean, like, Shiva was trained by Tim Drake, third Robin. Yeah, she wouldn't win. But, I'm just saying. But yeah, good question, man. Jay Insanity asks, question, I know that indie games were still thriving while AAA games either woke or broke, but how long will it last before a woke or broke curse goes to them? I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I doubt it. No, it won't, because these independent creators, right, they don't care about the woke crap. It's these companies that are the ones that fall to this. It's not independent creators. This is why people went independent in the first place, was to combat this so that this bullshit wouldn't happen to games, unlike what's happening to companies, where companies are, bending the knee to these clowns on Twitter. They listen to the people on Twitter in Reset Era, and what they do is they think that they're the fans when they, obviously the Twitter Puritans and people on Reset Era, yeah, they're not fans at all. So no, it won't get to indie creators. Like, indie creators know better than that. So no, that won't happen. But yeah, good question, man. Anime AK116 asks, so given how shit Ruby is, would you propose a reboot by actually good writers like Dave Filoni to head a Ruby reboot, and or maybe a spinoff like how Dave did with The Mandalorian, something like this? So what I think is that the series just needs to be completely rewritten from the ground up. I think you would have to completely reboot Ruby because it's just so inconsistent. Its lore just doesn't matter. There's just so many problems with the series. Like, what you would have to do is you'd have to just completely start over. Like, I mean, at this point, that's just what would have to happen. And it would be a lot of work, obviously. And it's not that you couldn't take some of the ideas from the original series before the reboot, but you'd have to make sense of it. You'd have to make it work to where it's consistent and all, joins up together. And I'd want somebody that knew and understood Ruby to do it, because it's always best if a real fan, and I don't mean the shills, I mean like an actual real fan, were to take over and do the reboot, because then they'd understand it and they'd know it. But yeah, good question, man. Captain Boomerang asks, King Kong versus Godzilla. Godzilla, king of the monsters, man. Godzilla would be the victor. I mean, like I said, king of the monsters. But yeah, good question, man. Johnny Q asks, which character do you think is stronger, Alyssa from Tekken or Penny from Ruby? Alyssa from Tekken. Like, Penny gets mollywopped by a hound, which is basically a zombie. Come on. Can't even use her powers at the moment she actually needs to use them because she was just so dumb and didn't do it. I mean, like, seriously, Penny's an idiot. But, so yeah, good question, man. James95 asks, what is your 10 worst ship in any anime? You can add Ruby if you want. Well, I don't know that I would put them in an exact order. I'd have to really think about it. But, like, I'm just going to name off some that I really don't like. Like, for example, people can think what they want about this, but the one relationship I've never liked, okay, and this is me. Actually, this is, you could just count this as two. So, like, I'll just kind of add them back to back. They're from the same series, though. I never liked the Sakura Sasuke ship at all because it was just so one-sided throughout the series when it was going on, because Sakura was obsessed. I wouldn't even call it love. It was just more like obsession. Because, I mean, like, she liked him for the time that she was a kid. But, like I said, it's not really love. It's just more like she was obsessed, because that was basically everything to her character in the beginning half of Naruto when you think about it. It was annoying. It really was. I mean, when she started to do more with the Shippuden era, like, that was better for her. Like, the Sasori fight was amazing, and that was, like, I think, in my opinion, one of the best fights in all of Naruto, period. I'd put that, like, my top 5 favorite Naruto fights, honestly. But like young Sakura was obnoxious with that, and then even as she was older in the Shippuden era, the thing that held her back was Sasuke, and he didn't care about her, and you could clearly tell it. I mean, like, and that's a problem. And then again, I don't like his character personally, but you just see this big issue there. And he tried to kill her multiple times. I mean, you'd think that would give her a clue when she was growing up, but apparently it didn't. Like I said, it was, in my opinion, a very bad ship. I mean, she's a great character as an adult now, and Sasuke's obviously, become different as an adult as well. But like the ship, still to me, I just don't like it. That's just me though. I also don't like Naruto and Hinata because there just wasn't really. It's kind of the same instance with like Sakura and Sasuke. The problem with it was that there just wasn't any screen time to really develop it. Now I know people could say, well, the last, but like if anything, to me personally, it felt like it was forced, and it felt like there was a retcon in there. I wasn't particularly a fan because it was like they retconned as like, oh, Naruto didn't like Sakura. It was all about the competition. I didn't like that either. Like the writing, to me, with that movie was not good in that aspect. I had problems with the last. I didn't really like that movie. And if you like it, that's cool. But like to me, it's just I felt like there was a lot of holes in that movie that just were not good, and it just felt like it was really just trying to force the whole Naruto Hinata dynamic, and I didn't like that. Now this one may come as like a controversial one, and while I am a big fan of Fairy Tail, I love it. The one that I didn't really care for, which is kind of, not entirely, but it's kind of like a Sakura instance, was the whole Erza Jalel thing. Now I get that they had feelings when they were kids and stuff, but of course Jalel thought he was, doing everything for Zareth and all that madness and all the terrible things that happened, with the Tower of Heaven and whatnot. But like the thing of it is that I know Erza, got past everything with Jalel in terms of like forgiving him for what he did after, everything, and he forgave himself. Of course, he wanted to, you know, pay for the crimes that he committed, live his life like that. But like, um, it just I didn't really like that as like a shipping standpoint. Like them being friends, yeah, yeah. I mean, I was fine with that part because that part made sense to me. Um, because they got past everything. But like, I don't know, like the shipping aspect, I didn't really care for. If there was one that I felt like could have been a better relationship, now keyword could have been doesn't mean that I think it would be the best thing, but I'm just saying like I think Natsu and Erza would have made a lot more sense, especially with the Tower of Heaven arc and what went on with that. But that's just me. Especially with the basically you could say the whole family that Erza made out of the guild, and how Natsu was one of the people that was close to her. I mean, I think that would have made more sense if there was going to be a ship. Now, I'm not saying that was going to happen or anything, but like I think that would have made a lot more sense. But like I said, that's a controversial take. You could say that's a hot take for me, but like that's just my opinion of it. It's like how another weird one that I didn't care for, I did not like it, was Lysana and Laxus, because like that one was so random. Like just at the end of the series, like, oh look, Laxus and Lysana, just okay, it's a thing. Even though like they were kind of like foreshadowing Mirror Jane, and it's like next thing you know, it's like, oh yeah, Lysana and Laxus. I'm like, what? That was so just random. And I was like, there wasn't anything that indicated this. I was like, where did this come from? Like that one was just so weird to me. I feel like just Mirror Jane got the raw end of the deal on that one, and I felt so bad for her, honestly. Like it was weird. I mean, Laxus did his thing. I mean, it's Laxus, but I was like, man, I was like, that's just so random. I mean, I like Laxus though. I mean, he's a great character, but like, I was like, man, I was like, that's totally, totally random. Another one, the familiar Zero, which is Luis Francois Lee Blanc and De La Villiers and what was it, Hiraga Saito. God, I don't like that because like here's the thing about that relationship. Okay, I know she's supposed to be a tsundere, but Luis, God, she treats her familiar so bad. Like, oh, it's like I like that series. I do. But like that is the one thing that I did not like because it felt more just like her just treating him terribly. And I like Sundare's, but like Luis is I think she's the one that might be an insufferable case to me. Like, oh, I don't while I like that series, I just don't like the treatment that her familiar got. Like, Hiraga, like, he just got treated so bad. I definitely never liked the idea of Nana and Takumi from Nana. God, I mean, I've already talked about this a little bit, but like, yeah, basically what Takumi would do is he would just cheat on Nana and treat her as if she's kind of stupid, talk down to her, and it was a very unhealthy relationship, and she still stayed with him regardless. I mean, uh, it was not a good ship. I don't like that ship at all whatsoever, but that's just me. Now, while I love Yuno Gasai, let's be real. Let's be real on something. Yuno and Yuki, it is not a good relationship. And as much as everyone knows I love Yuno Gasai, the problem is that, good God, like while she's a yandere, there's a reason why she's the yandere queen. But, going so far as to even threatening to kill Yuki's own mother because, she doesn't want anybody getting in between them. Like, that's insane. Like, I mean, that's not a good relationship in my opinion. I do not like it. God, is it just bad? Just oh, it's so bad. And since you said Ruby, oh yeah, I have to include these. Jean with anybody because I don't like Jean. He can burn. Like him as a character, he can just burn in a hole for all I care. I don't like Jean. Personal opinion, of course. And then again, I always thought Pyrrha was better, than that. She could have gotten anyone better. But of course, Jean is a soy boy beta cuck, so representation of Miles, of course. So since he is his self-insert, of course they were going to have a beta cuck. Get with one of the best girls in all of that series. I mean, yeah, of course they would. And then I also don't like the idea of Crow and Robin Hillary Clinton. Oh my dear God, I hate that so much actually, because the chemistry between him and Winter made sense, and then Crow and this sham of a character. I can't stand her at all. I hate her. And then Bumblebee, because the relationship of Blake and Yang, if it had been written right and not shoved down everyone's throats, it could have been fine. But no, it was shoved down everyone's throats, and it was forced. It was just terrible. Like, I can't stand Bumblebee. It's so bad. And they had to kill Adam to make it happen. Like, oh, such a bad one. Such a bad relationship. I mean, like, and it's such a terrible one too. At that, like, it's an abusive relationship. It's horrible. Like, I can't stand Bumblebee, but that's just my opinions on it. But yeah, good question, man. Mr. DJ Fly High asks, Cobra Kai or Miyagi Do? Cobra Kai, 100%. I'm a big fan of Cobra Kai. Like, I started getting into that, and it's actually really, really good. Like, I was impressed. It's really, really good. Opening Desk asks, how do you feel about pink-haired anime girls? Who are your favorite pink-haired waifus? I mean, I like them. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I mean, as long as they're good characters, as long as, they're written well, I mean, yeah, they're fine. No big deal. But yes, I do have plenty of pink-haired waifus. I'll name off a few, like 02 from Darling in the Franxx. That's a good waifu right there. Another one is Lala Debaluk from To Love Ru. Another one, which this series I adore to death, is Revolutionary Girl Utena. This series is fantastic. I mean, seriously, if you have not watched that, it is beautiful. And Utena, great character. Oh, God, I love Utena. Another one is Mine from A Comic I Kill. Now, I really enjoy Mine. I think that she was a good character. It was sad what happened to her in the anime, of course, but I do like Mine a lot. I think that she was good in Tsundere, yet again. And then Gasai, because I love Like I said, she is a yandere. I get that she's crazy, but gotta say though, I can't help it. I love this character. Oh God. Like I said, I have problems, and I know it. I do. But yeah, good questions, man. Falscarb Jaeger asks, for the January Q&A, what is your least favorite hated waifu archetype? I'm not a big fan of danderes. Like, There's been few instances to where I like dandares, but there's a lot of them I don't like. Best example is actually Hinata. Hinata Hyuga from Naruto. Best example of a dandere I don't like. One that had potential, but then the writing was just squashed. But yeah, I am not typically a fan of dandares. That's just me. Due to the anti-anime, anti-Easter culture of Soini, do you think more Japanese developers will move to Nintendo, PC, Xbox, or start another console company? I think they'll move to Nintendo and PC the most. Because that's what it seems like is going to happen. Because like they're not going to want to censor their games. That actually even costs more money to censor a game. I don't think that they're going to want to do that. So they're going to move to a console like Nintendo where they can choose, because Nintendo allows them to choose whether they censor unless they're first party. So I think that they're going to go to Nintendo and PC. Most likely PC though. But I think that Nintendo is also going to be a good choice for them because Nintendo is not going to censor things unless the developer themselves wants to censor it, which, so that's a good thing that Nintendo is not like, oh, let's go censor happy like they've been in the past, because they have been in the past. So it's good to see a change of things. I mean, Nintendo still has its issues, but, that's at least a plus. I'll give them that. So, what is your favorite video on my channel so far? I actually like the HKVP70Z quick review. That one's actually my favorite, because I thought you did a really good job on reviewing that gun, and I thought it looked great. So had to ask me. I think that one's my favorite one that you've done thus far. I did see the shout out to me after my father passed away, and I do appreciate that, by the way. And I just wanted to say thank you for that as well. That means a lot. It really does, man. So thank you very much. Who's your favorite Hololive girl? Oh, well, that's obvious. This one, Korone, because Korone is best doggo. Yeah, no, seriously, Korone, she's best girl. I like her the best, but that's just me. But yeah, good questions, man. Johnny Q asks, how would you redo Raven? I'll personally have her like Bikin, one-handed and an eye patch. So, if I were to like redo Raven, like, I don't know if you mean like design or if you mean story. If I were to say story, I'll kind of make it brief, but like, so I did a whole video on that. I would have made her like a third party. In other words, meaning like she would have been somebody that would oppose both Ozpin and Salem. And she would have known the truth, and she could have been like an oracle to Yang. In other words, meaning like she would have slowly gave like hints as to Ozpin and how he shouldn't be trusted, as well as how bad Salem could be. I think that would have been a really good way to write her, because she could have been the force that could have been trying to create a war against them as well, like jump in on their war and try to end it so that she can, basically take over, have the belief of the strong live, the weak die, so that, if anyone did die, she would deem them as weak and just not worth it in the world, right? And then try to take over so that she could remake Remnant in her own image, where the weak are the ones who do die and only the strong survive in her world. I think that would have been a really good way to write Raven's character. I mean, yeah, she could have still been a maiden. That would have been fine. I wouldn't have changed that really, because, it would have had her be a very powerful character at that point as well. I mean, with her experience already, then combine that with the maiden powers, that would be something. But yeah, that's how I'd do it. Design-wise, I'd probably just keep her the same because I really like her design personally. But that's just me. But yeah, good question, man. Bailink asks, question for January 2021 Q&A. Hey, DL, we survived the year of hell. Yeah, that's what it was. But it looks like 2021 may also be a bad year too, so let's have some fun with this one question. Who is your best girl in Kageguri? Best girl to me is Yumiko Tabami. Like, she is the one. I like her the best, the main character. But yeah, she is my favorite. She is definitely my favorite. But yeah, good question, man. Captain Boomer asks, how would you make the Ruby villains threatening? How would I make them threatening? Okay, so what you have to do is you got to not make the villains lose all the damn time. That's one case. Because if you constantly have them lose, well, where's the threat factor? It doesn't exist. What you have to do is a couple things, really. Like, look at Dio. What made Dio so threatening? I mean, yeah, he was an asshole, but Dio was cunning. Dio was someone who would try to think ahead so that he could have the upper hand. He played dirty. Your antagonists, they need to be interesting. They need to have that personality that either makes you love this villain or love to hate this villain. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean love to hate them as in like, oh, they're so terrible that, I just love them. I mean, like, they're so evil that you love to hate that. You know what I mean? Not because the characters are written so terribly, like, yeah, I still love them though. No, like, I mean, they give you that feeling of hating them because of how good they are at being evil. You know what I mean? And also, they need to have a good motivation as to why they're doing what they're doing. I mean, yeah, you can have some villains that are just doing it for the sake of being evil because they're just evil. I mean, yes, that can exist, and that can still be written well. But, like, there are also reasons that villains are villains, and what they see that they're doing, they see it as doing something right. You know what I mean? But also, like I said, don't present them as somebody that is just going to constantly lose all the time, be stupid. Like, one of the worst things in terms of writing, and this is something that, the Star Wars, like the Clone Wars series from 2008, this is one thing that I always criticize because it was so bad, was how General Grievous was treated. Because before that, he was, seen as this Jedi killer. He was seen as this, insanely powerful character that seemed almost unbeatable, right? And then it's like, you have the 2008 Clone Wars and they just present him as a coward. They took away the cool Grievous that everybody knew and just presented him as a loser. And he would lose all the time. And if Grievous got a win, it was typically a win against somebody that just wasn't on his level. It wasn't like a Jedi Master or something, which was really lame. It was just bad. It's like when you look at what they do with Cinder, for example. Cinder should have beaten Penny easily, and instead they just nerf her to let Penny win. You know what I mean? Like, if Cinder had, for example, beaten Penny and then kills her, takes the maiden powers, okay, that's something. There was a cost to the good guys, right? Or have Neo kill Maria, which that should have happened. Fuck Maria. But, like, have that happen. Yeah, that would have been great, But, like, that didn't happen either. And you gotta present stuff like that that can also be threatening as well. But then when you don't, well, it just sucks. Like, the villain just looks like they're just terrible because they're not contributing anything to the series, other than they're just losing. Like, their lose record, yeah, that's being contributed to, but, like, that's it. And that sucks, and that's not something people want to see. So, like, make a good villain with good plans, personality, design, because people will also remember a character for their design, and make them succeed at times. They don't have to win 100% of the time, but, don't make them, just fall over like a punk. Like, actually do something good with them. Make them threatening, give them reasons to be a real threat. You know what I mean? And Ruby doesn't do that. That's, why I wanted to give that example. But yeah, good question. Arclord asks, hey, I found it on other server and I'm interested what your results will be. Alrighty, well, here they are. So these are the results of the test. It all says it right there. So, yeah, which was very interesting. Apparently, my highest was psychopathy. Good question, man. Morshu asks, "Why do you come?" Well, that's an interesting question. Well, here's your interesting answer. For the pleasure, baby. Oh man. But yeah. Good question, man. Jay Sanity asks, "What topics makes you feel like self-destruct 100%?" I don't know what that exactly means. Does that wait? Self-destruct, like, does that mean like furious, like angry? I don't know. I mean, that's kind of hard to say. Like, um, I don't know. There's not really a lot that angers me. Like, it takes a lot to actually make me mad. So I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'd have to think about that. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's a good question, man. James95 asks, just want to know your thoughts on this, and who would you pick as your waifu, and what type of anime would this art style be? In terms of art style, I'm not sure what you would exactly call it, but I mean, I've seen it. It's not like it's uncommon. But if I had to choose out of all of the ones that have been gender bent here, I'd have to go with Tristan. uh, Man, red hair does it for me every time. Except for I am a redhead also. Man. Well, that's something, isn't it? Oh boy. Oh boy. That's funny when you think about it. But yeah, good question, man. Opening desk asks, does any anime character outside the JoJoverse stand a chance against Zewaldo? Yes, actually. When you look at like characters from Dragon Ball, for example, I mean, Goku can apparently, as of Dragon Ball Super, predict when somebody's actually stopping time. No, seriously, like, does anybody remember that from Hit? Like, that was ridiculous. Like, he's just like, yeah, no, you can just stop time. Like, what? Like, that was ridiculous. But yeah, good question, man. Jay Insanity asks, how's my drawing? This is my third time. So, taking a look at your art here, it doesn't look bad. What you would need to do, I would say, is work on like the back. The back needs to probably be out just a tad bit more. It wouldn't be too bad. I mean, it looks interesting. Seems like what you were drawing looks like it might have been some kind of person that either had an injury or might be a zombie or something. I mean, it looks interesting. Like, I like it. Also, with the hand, you might want to like bend the hand a little bit, just so that it looks like it's like a bent gesture. Either that, or I mean, like a little bit of curve to like where the top of the hand is. But yeah, aside from that, not bad. Captain Boomerang asks, have you seen WandaVision? If not, based on the reviews everyone giving it so far, do you plan on seeing it? I have seen it, and I couldn't do it. Like, I watched 2 episodes and then I was done. I don't know. Like, the setting just feels off, and it's just really forced humor, or at least it was from the 2 episodes I saw. I don't know. It didn't feel like something that I really cared much for. But then again, I don't watch Western entertainment anymore either. So, for the most part at least, so yeah, it just didn't hit with me at least. But yeah, good question, man. Anime AK116 asks, have you watched The Mandalorian and or Star Wars Clone Wars Season 7? If so, what's your favorite episode and why? Yes, I have. The Mandalorian, my favorite episode is when Luke Skywalker comes in Season 2. That is so far my favorite. That was a grand finale, in my opinion. They did really good with that. I also really liked the episode of the Clone Wars Season 7 of Darth Maul fighting Ahsoka. I thought that was awesome. They did a really good job on that. And I liked the theme that they used. Uh, it was really good. I really enjoyed that battle. I really enjoyed that. I mean, they really ended off Season 7 with a bang. Because it was really good. So, yeah. And then with the new crossover comics coming out of DC, when Ruby was actually okay as a show between volumes 1 and 3, minus Adam's shitty, surgically removed, caring for the Faunus racism plotline, what crossover comic would you have liked to read by a competent writer and gold artist? For me, it'd be Star Wars. I don't know. I mean, I just kind of like Ruby being its own thing, if that makes sense. I don't know. If like there was an actual like crossover, like an official one, it's I don't know, feels weird. Then again, I've never really thought about it. But it doesn't really concern me, I guess, if that makes sense. Like fan fiction is one thing, and people do really good with fan fiction, but like with like a bunch of companies nowadays in the comic book industry, I don't think it would be good. That's the problem. They would probably put some woke agendas or whatever like they typically do. So I don't think it would be, I don't think it'd be that great even so. But I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion of it. If the Mandalorian had the planet Remnant with volumes 1 to 3 Ruby and she was orphaned, would you have liked to see Ruby get adopted by Din Djarin since Mando is a walking armory and we all know how much of a gun nut she is prior to Volume 4? I mean, it's whatever, really. Like I said, I mean, she'd probably be better trained, I guess. Maybe have better morals from what she has, but if it was like volumes 1 through 3, I mean, she would definitely be someone to enjoy the weapons, I guess. But I mean, I don't think it'd be bad. I mean, yeah, it'd be fine, but I don't see why she'd need to be adopted, considering that she'd have her father and she'd have Yang. So I wouldn't really see the need for her to be adopted. Maybe trained, I could see that, but just straight up adopted, I don't know. If you ever cosplay as a Mandalorian, what color and what armor style would you have chosen? I would have probably went with like the Jango Fett look, but I would have had the colors like my primary being red and the secondary being black. That's what I would do. I thought that would be like one of the coolest things ever. I've actually thought about it before, but yeah, that would be really cool, to do that. After reading the Bounty Hunter Code book, which is where I got most of my inspiration for my OC Duran Kata, aka Forsaken, wouldn't have been cool for Ruby to actually have explored the underworld of Mistral and the shady nature of it rather than just sit in a house all of Volume 5. I mean, like, that's what I've said, is that they should have done that. That's what a lot of the plot to Volume 5 should have actually been. Like, it should have actually been them exploring that. But instead of doing that, it's sat in a stupid house. Like, honestly, we shouldn't even be done, in my opinion, with Mistral, or we should have just gotten done with Mistral. Like, it could have been an arc that they could have spanned out for like 2 to 3 volumes, exploring it, helping you actually get to know more about Mistral and Haven, and, actually caring for the area and the people. But of course, the writers are trash, so, don't expect that ever. Like, seriously, it could have had a bounty hunter try kidnapping Ruby by orders from a bounty by Salem or Cinder, like in Star Wars. I mean, they could have done that. I mean, the reason why they sent Tyrion out was to capture Ruby, so really they could have just used Tyrion when you think about it. Have I been watching and reading too much Star Wars content? I mean, what is too much to you? That's the better question. I mean, do you feel like it's too much? I mean, there's nothing wrong with reading what you enjoy. As long as you like it. I mean, that's what's important. I mean, sometimes some people take a break from things and they feel like they may have had too much of it. But if you're enjoying it, then keep going at it. But yeah, good questions, man. Jane Sanity asks, which song you think suits for a boss fight when the boss goes all out 100% for the final time? So I would have to say, if it were one of these two songs when I was listening to them, probably the Library of Runa. I think that one actually would suit a boss battle a lot better if it was like the final boss, because that one was pretty hardcore, like in a good way, by the way. So I think that would probably be the song to really go to for that one. I think that would be great. But yeah, good question, man. Opening S asks, Team Avatar, Avatar: The Last Airbender versus Dio, who wins? The Avatar state is loud. I would say Dio, because he can just stop time. He can just punch through Aang and kill him, and then he can basically do the same thing to the others. Also, he has vampiric powers, so he can also regenerate. I mean, so if we're going like stand Dio, they're not even going to see a stand, and then he's going to just beat the crap out of him too, because that's kind of the other problem as well. So I'd say Dio wins that. But yeah, good question, man. Jay Insanity asks, how much time per day do you spend on Facebook? I spend like 1 to 2 hours a day. I don't at all. I've never had a Facebook, and I'm never going to. Like, personally, I've never liked Facebook. I don't like Twitter either. I don't have a Twitter either, because I don't care for that. Because I know what big tech's like. I know what companies like Facebook and Twitter do, and I don't like them. I never really have, and that's why I never got one. So but hey, I mean, if that's what you like, man, go for it. I'm not gonna judge or anything like that. So have fun if that's what you enjoy doing. But yeah, good question, man. Anime AK116 asks, with the conclusion of The Mandalorian Season 2, did you or did you not watch it? I mean, yeah, I watched it. I mean, the Luke Skywalker seems awesome. If so, what's your favorite part about it? The Luke Skywalker scene. What is your favorite Gundam? Mine's the Unicorn, but if it had a black and red paint job. Mine is the Shining Gundam, because like my favorite Gundam series of all time is Mobile Fighter G Gundam. So yeah, the Shining Gundam was always my favorite. I actually liked how it was piloted in comparison to some of the other Gundams, but like, yeah, that one is actually my favorite Gundam of all time. But yeah, good question, man. Opening Desk asks, what are some good anime games you recommend, preferably for phone, with AA ending soon? I need something else to help kill time. Genshin Impact, Azure Lane, or Arc Knights. I think those would be the 3 best games you could choose. But yeah, good question, man. Jay Insanity asks, Question, Draco. I know you're not into politics. How do you predict this presidency will bode for free speech on the internet? I mean, there's already a civil war online. I mean, big tech's already, you know, just basically trying to censor whatever they can. So it's like I said, it's already a civil war online. People are trying to find platforms or wherever they can go without getting censored and talk about whatever they want freely without that issue. So I mean, it's already happening. I mean, the fight's already started. So you know, it's here, and everybody's just doing their best, however they can to try and fight back and be able to freely speak the way they want to without being censored. I mean, it's crazy stuff. But yeah, good question, man. Mr. DJ Fly High asked, Todd in the Shadows or Needle Drop when it comes to music review YouTubers? I don't actually watch any, so I couldn't tell you. Then again, I don't ever really have the time to watch a lot of people, so I actually couldn't answer that one for you. I'm sorry, man. But I'll check them out and let you know what I think. But yeah, good question, man. Assault Shaker asks, Hey Dick, here's my Q&A questions that were inspired by Elizabeth McAden. If Samurai Goro saw Team Ruby destroy his pilot, how would he feel? Oh, I mean, he would do what he does in Smash. He'd just take his blade out, start chasing him, and trying to hit him with it. I mean, that's what he'd do. If Baby Bonnie Hood and Tony Montana saw Emerald steal their money, how would they feel? Oh, are you kidding me? It'd be gangster time. Like Tony Montana, he's pulling out a gun. I mean, you think he's letting somebody get away with that? Nuh-uh. Tony Montana, he would be the one to just end everything. It would just be done there. Like, you kidding me? Like he would. Oh man, that'd be crazy. If Robin Hillary Clinton hacked the Ventec Tower, what would Dr. Venture do? Oh, I mean, he would send Brock to just kick the crap out of her. Like, you kidding me? If that even was lucky enough to happen, because, she as a character can't do anything. So, like, seriously, Robin Hillary Clinton is, like, the most useless character, besides Blake and Ruby, I'd say. But, yeah. What would happen if Bill Clinton's daughter, Robin, hacked Crypto's ship while he was gone? What will happen after when Crypto tries to activate his ship? Well, for one, they probably wouldn't have the tech to be able to do it. Secondly, even if he did figure that out, Crypto would just try to turn into a human or disguise himself as one or the other and then trick them and then eliminate them. I mean, he's an alien. So, I could just imagine that. I mean, that's Crypto for you. Can the Third Street Saints gang destroy Atlas? Easily. If you've seen what they do in Saints Row, yes. What would happen if Nico Balak, CJ, and Trevor Phillips feel about Team Ruby? Oh, all three of them would hate him. You kidding me? They would go Grand Theft Auto style on all four of them. Like, they would take Ruby down like hard. Like all four of Team Ruby. Like, they would all go down hard. And can Kratos beat Bowser? I mean, it's Kratos. Yeah, I could see it. Unless Bowser's got the superstar and he's invincible, then Kratos dies. But unless, he, doesn't have the superstar, then yeah, I'd say Kratos would win. Also, what would it be like if Alex Jones and Ben Shapiro interviewed Team Ruby and Penny? Well, Alex Jones would immediately just start pointing his finger and talking about how Penny was basically created by the government to spy on the people. Some conspiracy theory. And then you would have Ruby, they would just look at them like they're a bunch of terrorists. And Ben Shapiro would, he would probably just interview them naturally, and then he'd probably make fun of them for being stupid. And then while he's doing that, Alex Jones might try to interrupt, and then Ben Shapiro's like, hey man, can I talk? He'd be like, okay then! Just let him do it. Oh, I could just imagine that. That would actually be kind of a hilarious interview, and Team Ruby would just get completely roasted. Same with Penny. Like that would actually be a very hilarious interview if that actually happened. Yeah, that'd be something. Definitely be something. But yeah, good questions, man. James Sanity asks, if an SJW asks you an SJW question, what rude question will you ask them? For me, what did your parents teach you? Or I should say, your parents were failures like you. If the SJW is offended, I'll be on the right track, and started humiliating the SJW by shaming his or her parents. I mean, all you gotta do is ask them how their cat food was today. How's their unemployment? I mean, like, it's simple things like that that just would trigger them. And I mean, because that's SJWs for you. So, but yeah, it'd be pretty hilarious actually. Um, but yeah. Anyways, it was a good question, man. I want to thank you all for all your questions. It was awesome to answer them, and I hope you all enjoyed. I'm very sorry for the late Q&A, but we'll try to get it on time this month. Hopefully, I won't be as busy as I was last month. But anyways, if you have any questions for the Q&A, please leave them down below. And if there's any I forgot, let me know and I'll get them in next month. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.